Micha Knodt and Jim Belushi! And Jim Belushi! There he is. Good to see you, man.
Love to you.
Hello. How are you? I like this. Yeah, bang chocolate. Blues Brothers chocolate right here, bang. It's cool. How you doing, man?
Welcome, Mr. Belushi. Jim Belushi, please warm applause again. Okay, I think everybody of you knows Mr. Belushi. He's a famous actor from Hollywood, from California, playing in films like Wag the Dog. He's a member of the...
So you picked the film that I had the smallest part in.
Yeah, but I liked it a lot.
Wag the Dog.
I liked it a lot.
I had one scene in that, but go ahead, keep going.
Okay, then let's mention K9/11.
K9. You picked the movie that the dog was the star in.
Exactly. But you're also a part
You're
of
so easy to make fun of. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
But actually, I first knew you as a member of the Blues Brothers band.
Yes, I'm a member of the Blues Brothers.
And which is from your brother. It's your brother was a kind of...
My brother was the original Blues Brother with Dan
member.
Aykroyd. They did it in 1979, 1980. They started on Saturday Night Live. And it's just one of the most beautiful movies. It was actually probably the first music videos, because all those little vignettes in the movie where they were doing songs were essentially music videos. And also it was probably one of the most diverse films made at that time. So yes, the Blues Brothers. It was a great film.
But at that time, as you told me before, you were not involved in the show business at all, and that started...
No, I was involved in show business. Yes, absolutely. In 1976, I was at the theater called Second City in Chicago, and before that, I was in college.
And
is there another interview going on over here? Oh, I just heard somebody talking. I just wanted to make sure I heard their answer. It must have been interesting. Anyway, so in 1976, I was at the Second City Improvisational Theater. And then, let's see, 1980, I did a movie called Thief with James Caan. Michael Mann directed, it was his first film. And at the same time, I think John and Danny were doing the Blues Brothers.
And how come that you are a member of the Blues Brothers band? And is that anything to do with Danny? Did he involve you later on?
Well, yeah, it's funny because I had kind of a separate career from John. Separate but together, because John was originally at Second City, and I went there when I was 16, and I saw John, and I thought, wow, this place is magic. And so the next 4 years, I was like, I've got to be at Second City. So I went to Second City and learned to improvise. And John was doing Saturday Night Live, and he was famous for, Cheeseburger, the Samurai, the Blues Brothers. And so I was a fan, like you were, they were so great on Saturday Night Live, and the Blues Brothers was such an amazing film. And then John passed, and then in 1992, 2, maybe 3, Dan Aykroyd wanted me to join the Blues Brothers with him. And I said, Danny, I can't do that. You know, that was you and John. I got a separate kind of thing going on. And he said, oh, absolutely not, Jimmy. It's like a law firm. You know, when the partner passes away, the son or the brother or, cousin comes up and takes over the role. And I went, no, Danny, no, that was John and you. It would be really strange for me to do the Blues Brothers. Absolutely not, Jimmy. It's one of the classic parts of it made. It'll keep the legacy of Jake Blues alive. Keep the legacy of the American folk music library alive. Keep the spirit of the mission of God alive. You must become a Blues Brother. And I said, Danny, I can't do John. He goes, no, you wouldn't do Jake Blues. You'll do Brother Z, Brother Zurashida. We'll call you Brother Z. You'll be the lost Albanian brother, lost in the caves of southern Albania, and I will search for you and find you and bring you into the Blues Brothers band. And I go, you don't think it's weird? And he said, not at all, Jimmy. You belong as a blues brother. There's only one brother that can play a blues brother, and that's you, Jimmy Belushi. Brother Zurashida, Brother Z. Well, if you don't feel weird about it, Danny, I don't feel weird about it. So I started doing the Blues Brothers with Danny, and we've been doing it since 1994, 95. We play all over the United States. I'm trying to get them to play here and in Germany. And I know they're big Blues Brothers fans in Germany. And here and Italy and yeah. And every year Danny goes, absolutely. We should, yes. We can tour, we can do Germany, we can do Berlin, Munich, and then we can go to France, and then we can go to Spain, and then we can go down to Rome. And I went, yeah. Let's do it. Absolutely, Jimmy. It'll be a big hit. And then I start to talk to people about booking a tour, and I go, Danny, I got these people interested. And he goes, when is it? I said, the summer. Summertime? Yes, that's when all the festivals are. He goes, oh no, Jimmy, I'm on the lake in the summertime. Every winter, we talk about doing a tour in Europe, and every summer he goes, no, Jimmy, I'm at the lake with the family in the summertime. So I don't know if we'll ever make it, but I try every year.
I would really appreciate it to have to see the Blues Brothers in Germany one day, to see the Blues Brothers back in Germany or in Spain or somewhere. I would travel.
I would love it.
I would fly all over Europe and in Albania. What about the Blues Brothers playing in Albania?
We kill in Albania. We do great. Play Tirana, play Korča. We would tour Europe, but Danny likes to be by the lake in the summer.
Say hello to the people from ICBC to Danny and ask him.
I will, look into the camera and say, Danny, come to Germany.
Danny, come to Germany, please.
See, they want you in Germany. Danny, come on.
Danny, come to Europe, to Germany and to Spain, please. We want the Blues Brothers to be in Europe.
Honest to God, the Blues Brothers is one of the great, well, you know what? It was magic what John and Danny did. And the mission is so great because it's music. And you know music is spiritual. It's the closest to God that you can get is music. The sound of music, whether it's Beethoven or a Baptist revival in Georgia. The singing brings you closer to a spirituality. And that's what's so great about watching that movie is you can feel it. And the movie also, it had fun. It was fun. It was funny. And the most important part to me was that little phrase that Danny came up with, and that is a mission from God. So those three elements, to me, I thought is what cannabis is about. There's a spirituality to it. There is fun to it. And deeply, for me, is a mission from God and the medicine involved with cannabis, the healing, the pathway to healing in cannabis. So as a brand, I thought, you know what? Blues Brothers is a brand. It's not just a name. It's a brand. It has meaning to people. People connect to some kind of personal connection with the Blues Brothers. And I think cannabis is on a mission from God also in the pathway to healing. So I thought it was a perfect blend to bring cannabis and the Blues Brothers together.
So you're very, very passionate about music. You're also very passionate about your job as your profession as an actor. And when it comes to cannabis, you're born as a musician and as an actor. But cannabis, it came later. What did make you become a cannabis entrepreneur?
Well, you got to understand something that as a, I got to stand up. These chairs are really confining. You got to understand something with acting. The purpose, my purpose has always been to entertain. And when you entertain, when you make people laugh, they release endorphins, which makes them feel good. When you come to a concert with your partner or your girl or your wife, you know, you might have had a little fight in the car, but after you experience a performance, you might be laughing and feel good, and you go home together with your head up. And so the mission is what? To make people feel good. Cannabis is the same. Cannabis, the wellness in cannabis includes, helps with Alzheimer's, headaches, PTSD, backaches, pain, but it also enhances the taste of food. It enhances the touch of your lover's skin. It also makes you feel good. And you should never feel bad about feeling good. It makes you light, brings you closer to the light, which is enlightenment. So I think I'm right on purpose. As an actor, performer, to try to make people feel good, I've naturally moved into cannabis, which is another type of vehicle to make people feel good. So it's a natural extension for me.
So when it comes to Belushi's farm, which is your place where you grow your cannabis, how can we imagine that place? Is it... You make me nervous.
Am I making you nervous?
How can we imagine Belushi's farm?
Really cool shoelaces. Wow. They're different than the United States. Mine are flat.
Yeah, yours are flat.
Yeah, yours are kind of like four-sided.
No, I've never.
How much for your shoelaces? How much? How much? How much?
You can have them. You can have them immediately.
Yeah, I think it would look good. One brown, one gray. I think we'd look cool together walking down the street with different shoelaces. So anyway, Belushi's farm is a farm in southern Oregon, about an hour from the California border. And it is the most beautiful spot to grow cannabis because I live right next to a river, and I pull the water from that river, and it's almost a perfect pH, like between a 6.2 and a 6.7. It's like feeding Fiji water to the plants. that's loam soil. We have about 292 days of sunshine, which is perfect. Now, I'm in what they call the banana belt. It's shaped like a banana leaf, of a perfect growing situation for grapes, peaches, pears, and cannabis.
Yeah,
So the latitude, longitude, I mean, I think when God was done creating the earth, and on the seventh day when he was walking home, he dragged his hand as he was walking because he was so tired. And his fingers just kind of crossed the soil across the globe in this beautiful growing area across the world. We are in the same parallel as Bordeaux and Burgundy, and across the United States, the Corn Belt. So that from Napa Valley up to about 20 miles past my farm is just, it's like Havana is for tobacco. So the cannabis that we grow in Oregon and Northern California, and I'm going to say it, it's the best cannabis in the world. It is rich with terpenes, rich with terpene values. The THC values can get very high, which I'm not really big on high THC values. I really believe that the combination of maybe a 19% THC and a 3% to 5% value in terpenes creates an entourage effect that doesn't leave you with the back end of feeling a little anxious or paranoid. It's just perfect. There's a strain that I have. It's called Cherry Pie. That's a 19% THC, and the last test was like 275 of terpene values. That combination, I'll tell you a story. My wife, I came downstairs one night, and my wife said, "Are you hungry?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "What do you have a taste for?" I said, "A cheeseburger." She goes, "Oh, Jim, that's a little too filling for me, a little heavy. Anything else?" And I went, "Yeah, how about some sushi?" "Oh, Jim, I had some sushi with my mom last night. Anything else?" And he said, "Why are you wasting my time asking me what I want to eat when you know we're going to go where you want to go and we're going to eat what you want to eat?" And boy, she gave me a look like, maybe you're hungry, right? The next night I took a hit of this cherry pie, and I came downstairs, and she said, "Are you hungry?" I went, "Yeah." "Do you want to go to eat?" I went, "Sure." "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Baby, we can go to Taco Bell as long as you're sitting across from me." And she looked at me like, "Well, aren't you being charming?" And I'm thinking, am I? But I'm really thinking, cherry pie. The cherry pie is the marriage counselor. So this cherry pie I have in Oregon just sold out in like 2 months. And I can't keep it stocked because people come into the stores going, "Where's that marriage counselor? He needs it." So the combination of the THC and the terpenes is really, I don't even know if they test for terpene values here.
Not yet.
Yeah, that's really one of the things to look for opposed to the high THC levels. So anyway, Belushi's farm, yeah. So it's 93 acres, it's on the river. I have 4 greenhouses now. And I documented it in a reality show called Growing Belushi.
Is that broadcasted US-wide?
Well, it's on Discovery Plus. And I believe Discovery Plus is an international platform. So, but you have to buy Discovery Plus, whatever that is. But we also are releasing a distributor, I think Ant is distributing it in different countries. But it really documents the farm. I really believe it's the first cannabis show that shows us for who we are. It's not like a stoner show. Nobody's getting stoned on this show. Nobody's getting too, high and goofy and stupid. It's really about cultivating cannabis. My mission on the show is creating confidence in cannabis. So in order to create confidence in cannabis for the new consumer, they need to know how it's done. We show them that the cleanliness in which we grow, the water in which we use, the testing in which we do, the cleanliness of how we grow, the nutrients that we use that are natural. And then I literally show them how to buy in a store, how to use a vape pen. I talk about CBD, THC, and terpenes.
So you're not only a performer and a musician, you also are very deep into growing now.
Oh, I'm a damn farmer, man. I mean, I am like, I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought this was going to be a fun thing. And I'm a cross between Bill Murray and Elmer Fudd. I am out there chasing squirrels and gophers and aphids and rustic mice and grasshoppers. And I'm like, leave me, deer. I'm like, leave my girls alone. I'm like a hunter, killer, grower. I mean, I'm a farmer, man. I'm checking the weather, I'm checking humidity. Oh man, I had some strains that I got from Colombia that were 14 weeks. And it went into November and we had 3 nights of 22 degrees and killed them, froze my plants. I mean, I know why the United States subsidizes farmers and helps farmers. Because it's a bitch. Farming is not easy. And when you get a pre-roll of a cannabis joint from my farm, it's been touched 25 times by human hands. From the planting, to the pruning, to the harvesting, to the curing, to the bucking, to the trimming, to the grinding, to the putting it into the raw wrapper, to the rolling, to the packaging, to the sealing. You're getting a lot of loving care. This is like rolling Cuban cigars, but even more so. So there is so much craft, care, cleanliness, because everybody on my farm believes in the mission from God, in the medicine. And I can go on for hours about stories of how this medicine works. I mean, tell us
just one story.
I'm going to tell you, this medicine, cannabis, is so good that people take it for the side effects. Now, they got a rule. That was funny. You guys got that. But it's true. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going on and on. I had too much coffee.
Yeah, but...
Bang chocolate is very good.
What?
Very good chocolate. Jamie Pearson is a, I don't know if you know here, but in the United States, she's a star. She is just one of the great leaders in the cannabis industry, from the medicine to the science of this chocolate to the healing. And I've collaborated with her because her heart and my heart are on the same mission from God. And this is great chocolate. So anyway.
Did you have any Was there a day or something that happened that made you be so convinced of cannabis? I mean, you were not always into cannabis. So in California where you live, it's legal since 6 years and medical since, I think, 10 years about, or even longer? No,
96, I think.
96,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry. I knew
In California, yeah. Well, I think everybody starts in this cannabis business because it's a gold rush and you think there's a lot of money in it. I personally did very well last year. I broke even. Home run. People are jealous, okay? I broke even. And that's with 5 years of losing, so I broke even. Everybody on my farm got paid. They made their mortgage payments. They fed their children. They made their car payments. They're happy, and that makes me happy because it's a real family experience on the farm. But there was one moment when I was in Oregon and we did our first crop. I still do it. I go to dispensaries myself in Oregon and deliver the cannabis. And I do a personal appearance. And there was a parking lot and it was filled with people waiting to meet me. And as I go through the parking lot, I try to say hi to everybody and I see you inside and show them the cannabis, take photographs with them, you know. By the way, that's where I learned everything about cannabis, is from the consumer. I ran into a gentleman who had long hair, blue eyes, skinny, and he had a little look on his face. And I just stopped. And I said, are you all right? And he looked at me and he said, you know, I was a medic in Iraq. And I saw things that happened to the human body that nobody should ever witness in their life. I have what the Veteran Administration said, I had triple PTSD. He said, I don't know what they mean by that. But they gave me a bottle this big of 600 Oxycontin. And I have a wife and kids, and I can't sleep, I can't talk to them, and I was scared of the Oxycontin, and I came to cannabis. And he said, your strain, Black Diamond OG, is the only strain I can use where I can talk to my wife, talk to my children, and sleep. And then he kind of teared up and he hugged me. And I said, hey man, I didn't make this. And he said, no, but you're a steward. And that day when I rode with my cousin Chris to our next delivery, I just was so moved by this, man. That was the paradigm shift of why I'm in this industry. The number one fear in life is death. The number two fear in life is the collapse of family. And families collapse because of a death in the family, like mine, severe illness, someone in the family, divorce, a loss of a job, a loss of a home because of that. Families collapse. People fight to keep their families together. When they collapse, it's traumatic. And I believe that everybody is suffering from some kind of trauma in their life that's been guiding their decisions. And if you trace it, it's about some collapse. And when this gentleman was telling me was with that Black Diamond, and when he consumed it, he was able to participate in his family again, and the fear of the collapse subsided. But I believe that we all suffer from collapse of a family somewhere along the line. And everybody reaches for medicine. Everybody is struggling. You know people who are struggling. Whether it's your father with dementia or your aunt who's suffering from arthritis, or a veteran, PTSD, or divorce, or people suffering loss. Everybody is struggling somewhere along the line. Everybody is screaming inside. So they reach for medicine. And what is the medicine? What are our choices? Alcohol, number one choice. Prescription drugs, going to a doctor. Their job is to soothe the symptoms. They just give it to you. All I'm saying is that the medicine in cannabis is a better choice for our bodies and our spirit. And like I said, the medicine's so good, people take it for the side effect.
Jim, what would you say, a European doctor? We are not as far advanced with medical cannabis as you are in California, because we're not so experienced here. The European doctor would say, okay, cannabis has this positive physical effect and this positive physical effect, but the mood-enhancing effect is not therapy. Would you agree?
Is that what?
It's not therapeutical. It's not medical. The mood-enhancing
What do you
effect.
mean?
That's what I. What else you told the
What are you
doctor?
talking about?
Yeah, that's what I hear from doctors.
Oh, it's bullshit. I mean, people are taking Prozac and all those mood-affecting. I'm so sorry. When I said bullshit, did that upset you? I'm sorry. Was it the shit? I said shit, right?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. God bless you. God bless you. God bless. It's bullshit that you left, man. You're missing the harmonica solo. I'm about to do a harmonica solo. Pied Piper, they're coming back in. You see that? Bullshit! So, mood enhancing. Of course it's mood enhancing. That's the point. The point of living through trauma, PTSD, or illness that makes you feel bad, or like even with my wife, it was like, it enhanced my mood, it enhanced the communication and the relationship. There is nothing wrong with feeling good. We don't have to feel bad all the time. I mean, yes, we should be introspective, and we should use those times of feeling bad to process a growth. But you know, I say bullshit. It's nice to feel good. But again, I'm a pothead. I'm not smoking all day, you know. I take a little Bang chocolate at night to help me sleep, or a little bit of chocolate or a little cherry pie in the evening so I don't get in a fight with my spouse. Because the day builds anxiety, you know. Men and women who are responsible for family, you know, trying to raise a family, trying to provide for them, you know, there's anxiety with responsibility. And instead of drinking whiskey, yeah, you know, take a little Bang chocolate or a little hit off a joint, and it's peaceful. You know, I always said, you know, I was a bouncer in Chicago. You know what a bouncer is?
Yes, I do.
And I never broke up a fight between two potheads. Just drunks. So it's a non-violent, generous, kind, spiritual mission from God.
So what I experience from the US, what I do not experience in Europe yet, there is not such a strict distinction between medical and recreational. It's more like
The difference between medical and recreational in the United States is taxation. I mean, it's all medicine, I think. I just think it's all medicine. So recreational, they tax the hell out of it. And medical, the people who really need it, who will take a pound of cannabis and make their oil out of it in order to help them with 106 bones that were broken from a car accident, the pain they suffer, or cancer, they give breaks to in taxes.
So that at least our European audience might not know, in Oregon, cannabis for medical use is taxed differently from recreational cannabis?
Yes, absolutely. They're giving these medical patients a break on the cost. And also, it's tested. And testing is very, it's the bottom line for cannabis for me. Illegal grows, people are making, not all illegal grows. Some of them are beautiful farmers that are trying to make a living for their family. But, there's a lot of cartel or mafia that are involved, and they're growing auto flower, and you don't know what pesticides they're using. You don't know the terpene values, the THC values. You don't know what it is. So the medical cannabis and the recreational cannabis is very well tested, so you know what you're consuming.
And let's go back to South Oregon. This is where your farm is, and I don't know if the audience knows that ICBC is also coming from South Oregon original, from Ashland. And
Ashland, that's about 30 minutes from my farm.
Yeah, the ICBC is born in Ashland, so to speak. Alex Rogers, who is the CEO of ICBC, the founder of ICBC, he lives in Ashland. He comes from Ashland, and that's why I wanted to say I tried weed from Southern California, and I have to admit it was grown outdoor. It had very, very high THC levels, and terpenes. And it was high on terpenes, and it was all bio. Also, there was no pesticides in, and it was the best wheat I had on my trip.
It is. I mean, it's going to be, and the legalization in the United States, federal legalization is a tough road, because now not only do you have people who don't understand cannabis and why it should be legal fighting it, you have states that are legal that are loving the taxation. They tax the farmer, they tax the distributor, they tax the dispensary, they tax the consumer. There's permits, licensing. There's about 8 different revenue streams for the state. So once they legalize it and the state borders come down, they all know that Oregon and Northern California grows the best weed in the world, and we're going to be shipping it to everybody, and they're going, no, we don't want to give up all that money.
You have to promise to ship some to Germany as well, please. Because
oh my God, I can't even say that.
Please.
I cannot send anything to Germany across state lines. That is completely illegal. And I am a license holder of cannabis wholesale and cultivation, and I am the poster child for compliance in Oregon. I believe that when they give you the legalization, they give you the license, that they are making you their partner, and you have to be an honorable partner and stay as legal and compliant as possible, and this partnership will grow. I have no complaints about the regulations of cannabis.
So what do you think, this is my last question about cannabis administration things. What do you think about federal legalization, which means that you may ship your weed from Oregon to California one day? Is that coming, or ain't that coming?
I feel like it's really close until you follow the money. And when you follow the money, the states that are legal, I just said this, the states that are legal want to keep their tax dollars. I don't know if they're going to, I think it's farther down the road than we like, but I do think there's a possibility of them changing some banking regulations so they can help the the dispensaries and the farmers not deal with so much cash, because when there's a lot of cash around, it's a welcoming to crime.
And we talked a lot about Oregon, about California, but we are sitting here in Spain right now, and Spain also has kind of a nice system for cannabis because it's decriminalized here. And did you try any Spanish? I know you're not a stoner, but did you try?
I went to Choco.
Did you see or try any Spanish
I went to
cannabis?
Choco.
Choco?
Choco?
Yeah, the club.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it? How was the menu?
I enjoyed it. The people were very nice. Rezzo was very nice. Vincent, the manager, was nice. Janet. You know, in the United States, they have pre-rolls, so we've gotten very lazy. And here you have to roll your own.
Yes.
And so Janet was very nice to roll the joint for me. But I didn't partake. My friends did.
Are you surprised of all the Europeans mixing tobacco with the weed? Have you seen that?
I like that idea.
You do?
Yeah, I really do.
I've never heard that from an American. Surprising.
Well, you know, when I was 16, we used to take a little weed. We'd take a cigarette and we'd kind of roll out the tobacco and put the weed into the cigarette to smoke it. So I don't know.
Well, I started smoking in the U.S. When I was 16, and it was my first cannabis experience in the U.S. And because I had seen it in Germany, they mix it with tobacco, and I wanted to do that, and they wanted to kill me, my friends at high school there.
Oh.
It was like, how can you mix tobacco and cannabis? It's a deadly sin, considered as a deadly sin, I thought.
Really?
Yeah, I thought.
Well, that's pretty self-righteous of them. You know what I say? Bullshit!
Again?
You tell them to smoke their weed the way they want to, and you're going to smoke your weed the way you want to. That is bullshit.
Okay. Final one.
Did I lose anybody? Jamie, you're still here? You're not being offended by that? Okay. Man, I hate offending people. Bullshit's a big word. No, I mean, I think consume it the way you'd like. I mean, everybody has their preference, just like the way.
So don't overregulate.
I don't really like watching somebody put ketchup on their scrambled eggs. And I do the same thing. How can you put ketchup on your scrambled eggs? And they're like, shut the fuck up, Belushi. You eat your eggs the way you want to eat them. I said, all right.
So you don't think there's a necessity to overregulate anything on cannabis or to regulate it too detailed?
I didn't quite understand what you asked. What did you say?
I asked you if you think there's a tendency to overregulate cannabis and recreational medical cannabis to have too strong rules.
I don't know. I do believe states like Colorado and Oregon, and even Washington, they've been in the game for a long time. And especially Oregon, they're very amenable to understanding cannabis. And they change their regulations as they grow with the understanding of the cannabis recreational market. I think states like California should have talked to Oregon and Colorado. I think they did talk to them, but said, yeah, we're California, we're going to do it the way we want to do. And their regulations are very conflicting, and the taxation and some of the regulation is just anti-productive at times. And there's a movement to try to get them to straighten it out, but they're a little stubborn. California is I'm not even in the California market because it's a little screwy right now, but hopefully they'll get So anyway, Europe should look at Oregon and Colorado and see how they do it, because the testing and the safety and the protocols and the metric, the tracking is sensible and responsible and protects the consumer.
Okay, I think that was a very good final word, and yeah, we are close to finish. We are close to, yeah, we're nearly finished. Is there anything you want to tell the audience before they?
I think I've been telling you.
Anything else? Anything special?
Anything special?
What's your best strain, for example?
Well, I would like you to see Growing Belushi. It's a wonderful show and simpatico to our cause and purpose on Discovery Plus, and I'm looking forward to walking you through the convention tomorrow. Bang Chocolate will be there. Foch lighting, which is an LED lighting system that we just put into our grow that increased our grow, the yield by 30% and the terpene values.
So you do a hybrid grow, lights and greenhouse?
Soil, we're in the soil. Beds, we're in beds in a greenhouse. I couldn't take the aphids and the rustic mites anymore and the gophers. So I went into greenhouse because greenhouse still has the spirituality and the power of the Father, Son. But it's also a nice protected environment from the elements. And we're having great success with this lighting system. And we switched to advanced nutrients, which really, I'm very pleased at the results, because the results aren't subtle. It's like this last greenhouse we grew with advanced nutrients next to our other greenhouse was like, I'm on 2 different farms. So this nutrient, advanced nutrients, is spectacular. So, you know, between the light, the sun, and the nutrients, and of course the water we use from our river, we believe we're growing some of the finest cannabis in Oregon.
I believe that.
But you know what? Every grower says that, so don't listen to me. I'm full of shit. I'm bullshit is what I am.
Jim, I thank you very much for the interview, and
oh, thank you. I hope you guys got something. Any questions? You guys have any questions? Anybody have a question? Yes.
Hello. I have a question. I've written it down so I don't forget it. So, as a high-profile cannabis farmer, to what extent do you feel a responsibility, I guess, for want of a better term, to kind of push the legalization agenda sort of in the US and internationally?
I'd leave that to Steve DeAngelo. Steve DeAngelo is the godfather of cannabis in the United States, and he is really the most articulate and active guy. I'm still chasing gophers, but I do believe in the Last Prisoners Project that Steve started in the United States, which is a program where we are working diligently with lawyers, state's attorneys, to release some of the 40,000 non-violent cannabis people that are incarcerated. And we've been having some great success. But these men and women that are incarcerated were the pioneers in our business, and they are in jail with collapsed families, because when someone is incarcerated, it collapses their family. And we are making money on that, you know. Somebody's telling a better joke than me out there. I don't know who that might be, but they're having a good time. They must be dabbing. Did that help? Any other questions?
Right here.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for this passionate statement on cannabis. You say mood enhancing. I really like it. I really love it. But my question is, will you be ready to support maybe a trial, a clinical trial, to prove it according to the principle of evidence-based medicine as known in the scientific world for a while. I mean, we know that, I want to take the example of aspirin. 120 years, and for the last decades, around about $1 billion sales, average sales per year. So making something like that could give the possibility to make sales worldwide and support lots of people who need that. We know that, okay, and all of us are convinced that cannabis really have lots of potential. So if you could be the one supporting something like that and make this revolution happen.
I don't quite understand that long question. Would I support the legalization of medical cannabis? I don't.
Expanded testing.
What is it?
Expanded testing for cannabis to
Well,
put it on equal footing with, say, aspirin or
that
something
would
like
be
that.
great. I don't know what the laws are here in Europe, but in the United States, because it's federally illegal, people that receive their licenses from the federal government, doctors, if they dabble in cannabis, they can lose their license. So most doctors don't even know the medical benefits. They have 12 informative seminars a year on all different kinds of drugs, but there's not one for cannabis. They don't even know to recommend to their patient with baritis cannabis. They wouldn't do it because they'd be frightened to lose their license. So the testing is really behind, but there is some headway.
What I can say for Europe, in Europe we have testing is regulated by the federal government. Mostly it's the same in countries with with the legal medical cannabis. They test it for THC in Germany, and in other countries for CBD, for mold, and that's about it. You can, as a company, you can test it for terpenes, and you also can test it as a company for other cannabinoids, but you are not allowed to publish those results because it's a medicine, and you are not allowed to make advertisement for a medicine in Germany, and due to that, you are not allowed to...
You lost them. You lost them.
But I didn't say bullshit. Should I say bullshit?
What was it? It was something we said? Your heart, you have an heart attack? You all right? Piece of what? Marijuana. That bullshit. That's bullshit.
Any more questions from the audience? Okay, I think we are close to...
I want to say thank you because one thing we forget, marijuana is human, and you are real. And you say, I want to give you a present because you speak about the nutrients. I want to give you that from Big Mike.
Oh!
Like Big Mike. And thank you to be real. And to get to keep marijuana human.
Well, thank you.
Not numbers, nothing like that.
All right.
So you're real, my brother. Thank you so much. I love you here. And music was perfect.
Thank you.
Big Mike, another cannabis pioneer from Canada, and yeah, thank you, Big Mike.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for being at the ICBC. Come to Berlin.
Thank you.
Come to Berlin. One more time, Jim Belushi, Micha Knodt. Berlin is in July. You can get the VIP ticket for 420 euros. Thanks again, man. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. We'll see you in Berlin. We'll see you in Zurich. We'll probably also see you at Cannabis. We'd like to thank the Auditory Cornea. We'd like to thank the entire staff of the International Cannabis Business Association, Jesse, Randy, Noel, Mirko, and Mika, and me, and Garon, and everybody. And that's it. We're all so tired and burnt out. Thank you all so much for coming out and spending the day with us here at the International Cannabis Business Conference, and we'll see you in Berlin.